Hey yogis, it's Kim. We're going to do a gentle hip opening sequence today. You may want a block or some other prop to help you out, and you may be fine with nothing. So let's start in a comfortable child's pose. Top of the feet on the ground. We're going to start thighs together, and then we'll move to them apart. So start thighs together. See if you can get that connection with the sit bones back to the heels as you walk forward. So if the sit bones start to lift, prop up the upper body somehow. So this is where maybe a block or even a pillow or something will work. Walk the arms forward and start to notice your breath. And then start to bring your awareness very specifically down into the hips. We've got them in a fairly neutral position. We've got a little soft compression happening of the thighs towards the belly. So breathe in and around the outer hips here. Letting your inhales, imagining the hips opening. So sort of imagine those muscles around the outside of the hips lengthening or expanding. And exhale, just kind of settle down into this. One more breath, inhale. Exhale. Notice the tops of your feet on the ground. Notice the tops of the toes on the ground. Press into them, press into the shins. We'll roll the spine up, so we'll use that connection in the earth to stabilize us. As we roll up, the head comes last. Nice and slow. Picture each vertebrae stacking. When you get all the way up to the top, here's where we'll change our child's pose. So knees are going to come a little bit wider now. We still have that connection of the heels to, it's sort of around the hamstring attachment. Now we'll walk forward. Again, if the tush lifts, if your body loses that connection, prop yourself up. So this could be something under the forehead. It can also be something under the sternum. Remember, our bodies are a little different. Same thing. Once you get settled, let the head go. Notice the hips. So now notice not only that space around the outer hips, but start to notice the inner hips as well. The inner legs. Breathe into that. Letting it expand and release. One more breath. Notice the tops of the toes, the tops of the feet on the ground. Notice the shins on the ground. Press into that again as we roll up the spine. So really try to exaggerate this movement. Maybe the fingers, tips just drag up. Eventually the spine starts to stack. The head comes up last. And then if you had a tool, move it off to the side. Come forward onto the hands and knees. Couple cows just to find the spine. Our spine and our hips are related, so we'll work with them together. Inhale, pull the heart through the biceps, just tilt the tailbone up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone. Really push the earth away. Inhale, pull the heart through. Strong fingertips, tailbone tilts up. Exhale, scoop the tailbone round the spine, tuck the chin. One more. Inhale, pull the heart through. Exhale, scoop, round, tuck. Keep this shape. Come up on the fingertips. Open a little more through the back of the heart. And then pick up this right knee, bring it in towards the nose. And then step the right foot between the hands. So that might be a little clumsy movement. That's okay. Take a moment to reset it. And then we'll start to extend and bend this right knee for a moment. So the fingertips can stay here on the ground. If you want, the hands can come up higher. Just moving backward and forward. Breathing into the back of this whole right leg. And then next time you extend, hold here. Pick up the right toes if you need to
move that foot a little further forward. You can. Pick up the right toes, press down through the heel. We're leaving these sit bones roughly above the left knee. We're not going way back. We're staying up high, press into the right heel, and actively drag it towards you without moving it. So isometrically drag it towards you. Notice how the hips level a little. You can tent the fingers on the earth. You may find it nice to turn them around so the fingers face behind you. You can also be up higher using a prop. Moving from the hips, trace semicircles with these right toes, left and right. Little rainbows or semicircles. And kind of after the first one or two, you'll realize what was easy for you, what was your natural range of motion. Keeping the hips squared off, see if you can go just a little beyond that. Start to push towards your edges. Notice which way is more difficult. Is it rotating the toes out? Is it rotating them in? And that's just an observation of yourself. Good. From here, heel toe this right foot over to the left side of your mat. So we stay on center, but the foot crosses over. Bring the left hand to the right side of the shin. So I have both arms to the right of my shin. Pick up the right toes, re-square the hips, lengthen through the side body. Here you again might find a prop really useful. Rotate the right pinky toe towards the earth. So again, that rotation comes from the hip here. So we might start to feel something happening along the outside of this leg or this hip. As we start, the torso still goes straight forward, straight along your mat here. Hollow out a little through the low belly, breathing. And then keep the legs as they are. Now we'll start to walk the hands over towards the right side of the mat. And they may not go all the way, but we really start to like twist tie the legs together here. You can actively press them in towards each other and see kind of what happens if you get a little extra work. If the body feels locked out, take some little movement in this right knee. Just kind of bending it and straightening it. Again, ease in the shoulders, link through the spine. Always full breaths. Walk the hands back to center, still leaving the left knee like it is. We're going to cross the leg. So pick up the right foot, send it kind of behind you. So now I've got both knees. It's like I'm sitting with lady legs, but I'm on my hands and knees. I'm going to split the feet a little bit wider. We're going Gomukhasana. So we're going to sit the butt back. Some of you, no problem. You're going to plop right down. Some of you, you're going to be like, what was that? Find something to sit on. That can be a pillow, it can be a blanket, it can be a block. Your other option is to loosen this up and stick something under the right knee. Wherever you are, so if the knees are stacked, if you need more, walk the feet a little bit wider. Try to ground down equally through the sit bones. Inhale, length. Exhale to settle here. If the body feels comfortable, begin to fold forward. First thinking belly to thigh, so belly to that right thigh. And again, you may not be folding forward. Wherever you are breathing, walking the hands out in front of you if that's comfortable. Wrapping the elbows, even here, wrap the elbows forward, the eyes of the elbows, and then kind of soften the forearms down. Let the head go. Still anchoring through both sit bones, both hips as evenly as possible. Breathe into the back body. Each exhale lets us release a little bit. Each inhale fills the back body, fills the hips. Maybe you notice the spine start to release a little bit more, the head start to release a little bit more. Maybe you want to take some little movements with the neck. See how that affects the body.
And then lift or roll your way up from here. We'll bring the sole of the left foot onto the mat out in front of you. We'll bring this right ankle on top of the left thigh with this right knee out to the side. Tent the fingers behind you, get tall. And it can be as simple as this. So even though we're lifting tall with the spine, we're trying not to back bend. Try to just keep that little bit of neutralness in the spine. If you want more, you can bring the butt closer to the heel or the heel closer to the butt. And once again, if you would like to rock and roll, if you'd like to shift side to side a little bit, you're welcome to. We'll go on to the back body. So there's a couple options here. You can take this whole shape and lay it down. What I will cue is extending the left leg out, grabbing hold of sort of roughly the right knee and the right foot, lifting this up, hollowing out the belly, and rounding down from here onto the back body. There's probably this little plunk moment that happens. And when we get onto the back body, work on leveling out through that shin so that the ankle and knee kind of are roughly in the same plane and space. Again, you can move a little bit. You might start to gather the shin in closer to you. Some of you will be able to hug the whole shin and bring the hands to meet. Some of you will be pretty far away from the body. Wherever you are, keep anchoring through the left hip point here. So it goes sort of through the front all the way down to the back. Take a breath into the right hip. And then we'll bend the left knee. Bring the shins in line. We're going to rock and roll up. So just rock on the spine and roll right up. We'll cross the ankles, come forward, step back into our little tabletop. One cat-cow. Inhale, pull the heart through. Exhale, scoop around the spine. From here, tent the fingertips, get a little bit taller. Pluck up this left knee, set that foot between the hands, and then start to move. So we're bending and extending through this left knee here. We're just sort of moving for your own body. You can always be up higher. Working with your breath. And then start to walk this left foot further forward so that we can be in this half splits with the hips over the right knee. Lift up those left toes, so flex them towards you. Fingertips can be on the earth. You can flip them so the fingers face back. That can be really nice. Or you can bring a little something to prop yourself up. Press actively into this left heel and drag it towards you. We're trying to level out the hips so we don't want them way off to a side. And we're trying to actually activate a little bit these muscles that we're lengthening. And then moving from the hip, trace these semicircles with the left foot back and forth. Just take the first couple breaths to just kind of move. And then be aware of what your really easy limits are, and gently push them a little bit. See if you can go a little bit more external rotation, a little bit more internal rotation. Kind of just being aware of what comes naturally to your hips and what doesn't. And then start to heel toe this left foot over to the right side of the mat. So scooch, 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 scooch. Lift the left toes. Bring this right hand to the left side of the shin. So I have my foot crossing over and both hands to the left side. I can always be up on something under the hands. I flex the left toes. Now I pull the hips level again. This is really key. And I get that length through the spine here. And then I start to rotate these left toes, moving from the hip toward the mat. Re-leveling, re-lengthening, breathing into whatever I have going on.
Letting the inhales be large, create that space, but letting the exhales be even bigger. Let there be ease in the shoulders. And then we're keeping these legs like they are. We're just walking this torso over towards the left side of your mat. So we were in line with our mat, now we're going offline. So walking the hands over just as far as they'll go, pressing the inner thighs in towards each other some, so we're really twist tying and re-lengthening through the sideways. So if the body gets stuck, we can bend and extend this left knee just a little bit. We can also use our props to bring our hands up higher. Really just being honest with your body, tuning in with how this feels, with what little shifts you may need to make. And then from here, walking back to center, we're going towards Gomukhasana. So right shin stays where it is, pluck up the left foot, bend that knee, bring it behind you. So now I've got these sort of lady legs, split the feet a little bit wider. You already know if you're going to need to sit on something or if you can sit on the ground. And if the knees are gonna stack or if they need to split a little and you need something to support this upper knee. If you want more, walk the feet further away. Let's all just take one breath. And then choose really intentionally. Do you want to stay where you are? Or do you want to start to fold forward? And if you do, start with belly on thigh. So we lengthen into this. And then maybe the hands come out in front of you. You can walk them a little bit forward. I'm still going to wrap the eyes of the elbows forward and then soften my forearms down. And then I'm going to start to let my head go. Check in with the hips, see if they're sort of level. They're trying to equally ground, though it won't exactly get there. Breathe into the back body, the whole back body. So that means the back of the hips, the low back, the back of the heart, the back of the neck, the back of the shoulders. And let the exhales really release you into this. If you want to move the head slightly around, you're welcome to. If you do move the head, just notice what that does to your back body. Do you feel it around the neck or around the mid-back, or do you get an extra stretch on the low back or through the hips? It's all tied together. Next breath, start to roll your way up from here, letting the head be last. And we'll find our seated figure 4. So sole of the right foot onto the earth, left ankle goes onto that thigh. And this left foot is just active in some way. It doesn't give up, it becomes a little active. Hands can come behind you just to help support that length. You can look right like this. Remember, you can always move around. If you want more, either foot towards the sit bones or sit bones up towards the foot. We just get a little bit tighter. Sending the breath into what feels the most stuck. And then we'll go on to our backs. You can take this whole shape down with you, supine figure 4 stretch, or extend the right leg. Left hand grabs a knee, right hand grabs a foot. We lift this up some, we get honest with our own body, and then we start to round down. So we gotta activate just a little to control that. And then when we get down here, we're working on putting the knee, the left knee and ankle kind of roughly in the same plane. And then start to moving them together, hug them in towards you, even if there's not much actual movement. Some of you will get them in pretty close. Your hands can grab each other. Some of you will be pretty far. We're still anchoring through that right hip bone, all the way through the back body. We're finding some ease in the shoulders. And we're breathing. And then releasing that left shin, bending that thigh into chest, bringing the right thigh into the chest. Let's rock and roll our way up to a seat. Find just a comfortable cross-legged seat for a moment. Wide base, lengthen up from here. Close your eyes and just find a little bit of awareness. Notice if you feel any different than when you started. Thank you all so much for your time today. Peace for the body, peace for the mind, and peace for the spirit.